Welcome to a 1 versus 1 between Stuart here in blue and with Cloaky factory and an engineer commander. And he's going up against izirayd, who requested this replay, with spiders and an engineer commander. So yeah, this map, izirayd sent this replay for a request, and yeah, he wondered a bit how do you fight against spiders? How do you fight with spiders against cloaky bots and such things? As you can see, yeah, you usually want to go for a bit of an economic start on this map. Stuart does some interesting here by making a gremlin to scout the opponent. The idea is basically you make a gremlin so you can scout the opponent. It costs 120 metal, so it's not that expensive. Still, you could just send 2 glaives. That's my preferable choice. Like 2 glaives is 130 metal. And izirayd is almost getting a... Yeah, he would have been unlikely to get one of those there. But he could have been lucky and gotten it, but he wasn't. So yeah, well, this is a pretty good spot to put a flea up here and scout down and see what enemy is making. If the enemy starts to make Zeus or warriors or something, it's pretty good knowledge to know. Yeah, you can see here that they're pretty even in economy. izirayd is a little bit ahead since it went for an early con, and Stuart's con was a little bit later. He's playing it pretty bit safe here with Lotus turret here and with some wind generators here. That's a decent choice. I mean, against glaives, if you're spiders, you're gonna struggle to keep up with them. So yeah, you can see here that izirayd had his Venoms out of position, and now he's gonna lose a mix and lose expansion time because of that. He doesn't lose a con because he has his Venom close enough, so at least he doesn't lose those. But yeah, those early glaives are annoying to deal with for spiders because fleas, yeah, they can't really contest with glaives. Glaive is like the perfect counter to fleas, so you don't want to make too many fleas against cloaky bots early game. Yeah, you have to depend mostly on Venom against glaives. Venoms stay pretty useful through later in the game, so it's not too bad if you make a lot of them, and you can start raiding with them as well, get a ball of them and bunch up and start raiding with them. But they're also kind of fragile and expensive, so they're easy to lose, so you have to be careful with how you use them and consider to repair them or not. Yeah, but he secures his position, and yeah, they're still pretty even in economy here. You can see, and yeah, you can see the gremlin here scouting out the base. So yeah, with that wide range, it can be hard to like find a gremlin, since it has so long line of sight, 760 elm range. So yeah, that's pretty far. And you can see here, I just need to grab a bit of water, excuse me. Yeah, so you can see here that, yeah, izirayd is doing his raiding here with his Venoms, and yeah, Venoms, if you punch them up, they're quite good against glaives. And yeah, they're gonna struggle to deal with that, but it looks like Stuart has gone for an early knight, which is a pretty decent. Again, so you can go for early knight or early reavers against spiders, and knights are kind of hard to stun as they are pretty tanky and so forth. So this is a risky situation. 2 Lotus turrets, it's probably too much. 3 now, yeah, this is too much to go in against. And yeah, I mean, izirayd makes a pretty even trade there. He kills like 3 glaives and loses 1 Venom, but yeah, he's not doing much, and then he happens to run into the knight, so yeah, not too good. Yeah, so you want to be able to know where that knight is, but now he has some scouting on other factors, so that's good to know to be able to see what enemies making and such. Yeah, so that's kind of nice. Meanwhile, yeah, they're both expanding here. Like the patterns are like, yeah, you usually want to send the con one way and then you send the enemy command the other way. And it looks like one thing to note is that Stuart has a sling, so he can win like if he faces a pork war or artillery duel, or I mean like you build pork in enemy's face and against the enemy commander, yeah, you can just put up some slings and kill their Lotus turrets and stuff like that. So that's a pretty decent choice. I prefer reavers usually. while izirayd went for a venom here. I prefer to take redback because redbacks are slow, so if you can been that in front line, it can be quite advantageous. And yeah, you can see it's trying to raid some here, and yeah, it's gonna be effective here. Yeah, it didn't manage to kill that load starts, and that's dealing a lot of damage to his venoms. So yeah, but he killed some glaives there. It's gonna be able to perform this. Yeah, you can see how if you bunch up your venoms, the enemy's gonna struggle to get a good surround and kill them. So yeah, izirayd is making decent value here, but yeah, he's staying pretty even. Meanwhile, he has chosen to go for hermits already. I think that's a bit too early. In this situation, I would probably try to run these venom backs. There are lotus stars everywhere, there are glaives coming, knights coming. Yeah, you would probably be better off trying to retreat those venoms and save them if you can. Although finding a path out here could be pretty hard. But that's the thing, yeah, you make a good raid, you kill a bunch of glaives, but they're still expensive, so if you lose these units, you still haven't made cost. As you can see that the attrition is pretty even here. So yeah, just gonna lose them over there. And yeah, this is like lone hermits. What are they gonna do this early game? They don't do much. You can try to run down enemy commander, but you send them to the middle of the map against what? This position is really far away. Now you lost a hermit there, I think. Yeah, you lost a hermit there. Yeah, so you're gonna struggle to hit waves like this. They might kill them every now and then. There's so many hermits against so few glaives, but still, just the glaives are making value even against this many hermits. So I'm not sure why you're sending these hermits without support. You want a venom or redback really with them. Personally, like if you want to go for hermit spam, you might as well go for some redbacks instead of venoms because they deal more damage. And you only need 1 or 2 in this group of hermits and you're fine, really. Of course, venoms are still useful, but there's still a lot of open ground to like try to contend and stuff like that. But yeah, you can still you're still losing these hermits to glaives because your venoms are out of position. Now you're gonna try to pork creep against the enemy, but the enemy already got a stinger. But this is where I guess your hermits are gonna turn out useful because yeah. Now you can just run down the enemy stinger here like that, and you're soaking some damage with the command. It can be pretty nice. I mean, taking 2 shots here from the stinger is pretty nice, and you stun it, and yeah. Nothing wrong with taking 1 or 2 stinger hits while you run it down with hermits and venoms. So yeah, you can see that hermits can be pretty strong. Like if you go for like a pork situation like this, when enemy's commander starts with pork, yeah, you can just throw the hermits in the face. So yeah, now they're turning pretty useful. But sending here in the middle in the first place was kind of bad without support. And yeah, meanwhile the enemy is advancing here, and you have to be careful so you don't lose units there. And yeah, you're just about gonna be able to, with these just 6 last hermits, you're gonna be able to kill the enemy commander there, which is pretty nice, I would say. So yeah, that's pretty nice. It's pretty close. You can see the glaives here are doing damage, and you just have 2. Yeah, you just barely managed to kill the enemy commander. So yeah, that's putting it quite a bit ahead. Meanwhile here, yeah, like hermits, they can tank a few hits with Ronins, and then we start to make Ronins and knights, and it's gonna be a pretty even fight. This is a situation where, yeah, you wanna probably keep the venoms back, but because they're relatively expensive and fragile, and just keep them behind and be ready to like overrun the Ronins or overrun or like save your hermits from glaives and stuff like that. Yeah, you can see it's still pretty hard to make cost against light defense like this because yeah, light defenses like to target the venoms, and then you're gonna kind of struggle to actually kill the enemy. You're actually gonna struggle a bit to kill to deal damage because yeah, if the venoms are taking damage, they're relatively expensive and fragile, and they run ahead of the rest of the armies. So yeah, you want to be a bit more careful with how you micro your venoms if you mix them in with hermits and not send them forward to die like this, and save them for when the glaives are coming to get your hermits and stuff like that. So yeah, this is a question: do you want to go for Recluse? Because Recluse is pretty good against Cloakies before they get snipers out. So you can consider going for, if you get a crave out, it's on this map it might be okay because you get 1 or 2 crepes and you can cover most of the map with crepes, because the Cloaky bot factor doesn't have anything that's really good against crepes, so crepe is pretty good. One thing that I would also recommend is you try to repair your hermits. Like, you can put them retreat on like 30%, and then they won't die so much against Ronins and Lotus turrets, for example. So that's something you can consider. Meanwhile, you're grading this, you could have targeted down this mechs, for example. And yeah, this is the first enemy sniper that's coming out with phantoms, yeah. And yeah, you're making ground. Sadly, you let this enemy get this position. I guess you don't have radar coverage here. Yeah, you don't have any radar coverage, so I don't see why you haven't really... Yeah, you should be expanding here yourself. I'm not sure. I guess there were glaze earlier, but really, you want to have some. You want to have some radars up here. Instead, you're trying to. Yeah, you're running a bit into the enemy there, but now you're returning back, and now you made a lot of venoms in this situation. And this late venoms, you don't want that many venoms because there's usually Lotus turrets around, and yeah, Ronins are pretty decent against venoms, and Knights are really good against venoms, and snipers are pretty good against venoms. So yeah, this is too many venoms at this point, really. Something as well, like, why are you defending here? You're making 4 Lotus turrets here. If you had a radar here, you would know where the enemy is, that they made its position, for example, and you could have made a Lotus turret here and 1 there, and maybe 2 there, or two here. Like, you're making 4 Lotus turrets here in the back. Why? Really, why? That seems so unnecessary. Yeah, so here you can see that, yeah, the venoms can deal with the enemy, but you're gonna struggle to make costs, and you're likely to lose your venoms. Like, you lose some against the Ronins, you lose 1 more there, and the snipers, and you just struggle to make costs with venoms once you get against a line of like Ronins, Reavers, and Knights and snipers. Yeah, that's really harsh. And here comes it for Phoenix. Phoenix can be a pretty good against choice against Cloaky boss, because their units are really fragile. But yeah, you're unlucky and lose a Phoenix there to a sniper. Snipers can be accurate against Phoenix sometimes. And you choose to go to bomb these caretakers, and I don't think you're gonna get it, so that's gonna be just a bit... Yeah, you probably want to send like 2 Phoenix there. So yeah, and you want to try to bomb the Ronins and try to bomb the snipers. But you can see here that the snipers can sometimes be quite accurate, which can be annoying. So you want to try, when the enemy has snipers around, you want to try to avoid sending the Phoenix in lone and stuff like that. And also, if you know the like timing of the reload of the enemy snipers, you might know that it has fired and you won't take any shots here. But that's a bit of a like hazard. Yeah, now you have a really small ground army here, and that's why you're getting pushed back and you're losing ground kinda, even though you're quite far ahead in total value here. You can see that you're quite far ahead in value. You just want to be careful with how you use your you can see that you managed to get 1 phantom there a little bit. So you can usually kind of guess where the enemy sniper is. Oh, you managed to dodge 1 shot there, but yeah, you targeted the ground here, then we choose to retreat their snipers so they avoid the fire. It's kind of a mind game where the enemy snipers are, if you have the fleas and send them in at the right position. But yeah, Stuart98 is making a pretty good composition here. Like, he has Glaze, he has Reavers, he has Knights. It's hard to get in the fleas there, to get in there and deal damage. But yeah, meanwhile, you were not paying attention to your commander, and your commander doesn't hold fire. So I think if you just didn't have your engineer commander on hold fire, it wouldn't have died. And here you send, yeah, you can see the snipers here are making quite a number on your Phoenix, proving to be quite good AA actually. So it's something to consider, so that you have something to draw out the fire for the snipers and try to get these positions. And you can see here that, yeah, if you have, especially late in the game, if you don't have glaives, if you don't have redbacks or venoms with your hermits and recluse, yeah, these glaives are really gonna distract your recluses and hermits, and they're not gonna do a lot of damage, and they're gonna risk exposing themselves and dying to snipers and glaives. Like, yeah. Here's the thing: if you have the micro, it depends on how much micro you have left. It depends on how much you can, so to speak, how much you can make these units target. Oh. So yeah, you want to mix in like a few redbacks, and you're fine, and you want to try to keep the redbacks in the back position, and you want to try to distract enemy Ronins with fleas and stuff like that. So it's a thing to consider. Yeah, I really think it's a thing to consider. And you can see that enemies have some AA and you're losing your phoenixes. You really want to try to save them up, so you send them in like 3-4 at a time and try to go for a single angle. But yeah, it's also hard when enemies so spread out. And you can see here that you lost your advantage here. You had a small army here and you started getting bad attrition here. Value kill, value lost, and even though you had more metal produced, you had more total value, yeah, you fell behind because yeah, you didn't micro that well, you made a few too many venoms at some point, and stuff like that. So yeah, and now you're making fleas. Yeah, you probably want to like be more careful with how you set your factor position, like not to the middle of the map with the spiders. You probably want to send them to the side or like a few bit here, and then you want to have the fleas ready when the enemy are exposed, when they don't have reavers and glaives around, and then you send them in. So it's a thing you have to be like reactive with your glaives and not send them to the front. And the same with the hermits and venoms. Really, you want to be careful. And yeah, you lost the recluses. Like at some point in the game, like at 30 minutes, I saw you charging reclusing without any support, and you lost a lot of recluses. So there's definitely some room for improvement here. Definitely. Something I consider is to always have your recluses on what do you call it? You have them on maneuver, so you don't run into the enemy and stuff like that. Yes. Yeah, so that should be it for this game, basically. Now you're too far behind. Could you go for a crab at this point? It's a bit risky when it is Bahar. You still have some position up here. But it's a thing you can consider, going for a crab on a small map like this. Like if you get 1 or 2 crabs, it's pretty good value, and it's gonna be like the enemy basically has a fact switch to be able to deal with the crab, so it's something you can consider definitely. Yeah. Yeah, you have your recluses on hold position. I don't like that because, yeah, you should have them on maneuver, I'd say, because you don't want them running ahead, and you want them to always be like the situations where you want them to run ahead. Yeah, you want to be manually controlling anyway, so then maneuver doesn't make any difference. So, yeah, I'd recommend putting the recluses on maneuver. Anyway, those are my tips for you. Good luck and have fun.